What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin in this video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. It is the 24th day of September, and here we are at about $113.1 thousand. 11 hours left in the day. We're up a little bit on the day. You know, it's convincing enough that this could be a low. We're right in the area I think that we would look for a low. Let's see, low to high. Yeah, right there, right off the golden ratio. It's not a bad reaction so far, but it's not. We've yet to determine if it is low. There's still a lot that needs to happen before we get too excited. I mean, we could come up to the 382, reject that, and then proceed lower. Right? We could find support here, come up here, find resistance, and proceed lower. We could just from the 382 go directly down to lower lows than this. But just because we go lower than this low that we just formed today does not mean that we have to go lower than this low here. All right, there's a few things that could play out. I had a dream that Bitcoin was at like $102,000 whenever I woke up and I saw it here. I was pleasantly surprised. Let's see. And yes, a dream actually. It's not so much a nightmare if the price goes down, because then we have an opportunity to buy things at a cheaper price. If you believe that the bull market is still alive and well, like I do, then cheaper prices are not a problem. It's just an obstacle, if anything, or an opportunity if you look at it the right way. But anyways, looking at this here on the 1 hour time frame, trying to determine, is this the low or is it not the low? You know, looking at this consolidation phase overall, I don't think it is. We're having a good reaction. I will say that is a nice reaction off of this low. It's a better reaction than we had here, better reaction than we had here even. It's just a bigger move overall, but barely, right? We still do have lower highs, lower lows. We're in this kind of slanted channel here, right? Lower lows and lower highs right there. Maybe we break out a little bit, but then we come back down. I don't know. Let's look at the indicators. Let's look at this here. We're at the point where we would look to find resistance, right? So breaking above this area here would be indicative that we perhaps have found the low, but let's just see. I think that this is the first time since this whole area is like actually happened. This is the first time that we can actually not count on, but we have a little bit more of a statistical probability that that's the low rather than either of these other times. With that being said, I'm not calling for the low, at least not just yet, okay? 1 hour time frame here, the RSI, bearish overall. You're in an area that you like to find resistance, but you're looking good. You know, you could find resistance here. Come down and still come back up, get these higher lows going. It depends on what we do by the end of the day, I suppose. Not enough there to go off of. I would say momentarily you do look bullish here, but I would think you come down. And depending on how you hold up, that could allow you to grow out of this range or might allow you to break out of this range to the downside. Stochastics are bullish. The MACD is just about to cross above the zero, but because it's the 1 hour time frame, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. You know, here you crossed below the zero, and as soon as you did, that was the low, right? Here you crossed above the zero, and as soon as you did, that was the relative high, and you came down. You did move higher, in all fairness, but let's look at the 4 hour time frame. That might help us out a little bit more. So the stochastics on the 4 hour look pretty damn bullish. That would make me think that we do continue to grow. We have 11 hours left in the day. This would make me think that we continue to grow going into the end of the day. We still have 3 hours or 2 hours 57 minutes left in this 4 hour. Let's see how we do. You know, if we close around here and then the next 4 hour candle is red, that would promote a rejection off of this overbought zone, which when we do that, you know, if you reject in this area, that typically does promote lower prices. It depends on how you interact here, but so far it does look pretty bullish. I would think that we continue moving a little bit higher. The MACD just crossed green, which is nice, but it's the 4 hour. It's not as important as some other time frames are, but it is nice. And the RSI overall looks bearish. Overall it does. Yeah, we're still in this downtrend. We're right at the point where we'd expect to reject, actually. Not just in the downtrend, but also at the 50. You rejected here. You found support here. Found resistance here before. Support. You know, this is an area that you find significance typically. I would think, just looking at this all, I'm not convinced that's the low, which makes me believe that we have a little bit lower to go. I think we're getting close. But if we look at the liquidation levels, we look at the past 30 days, refresh this a little bit. You know, the shorts versus the longs haven't really changed too much, right? Even with that lower low, we didn't change too much. I think we need to clear out some of these longs before moving higher. We need to pile on some shorts before moving higher. And I say need. There's no need. Anything could happen, right? We could move up even with more longs than shorts over the past 30 days, but throughout this, really this whole range, yeah, dating back to July, we've only moved up once the longs were decimated. We've only moved down once the shorts were decimated. Right now it's a little bit of a push here and there, but the shorts, the longs have it, right? The shorts are technically on the lower end here. So I would think that we have to go, not that we have to, but that we probably do go lower. And if we do go lower, then that would imply that $113.8 thousand is the highest we would go to. Maybe we break out of this range a little bit, people get overzealous, they get excited, and then from there we begin our final trip down to the lower low, in which case maybe it's a double bottom, maybe we find support in this area, maybe we go down to the 786, the 886, something like this. It's even possible that we could go down to our 1272 golden ratio zone down here. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. But at this point in time, I'm not necessarily saying we have to go up first and then down. I'm just saying if we do, 113.8K probably holds. And if it does hold as resistance, then we are going lower. We likely do go lower than this low. And the target areas that I would consider first and foremost would be 109.5 to 108.4. Somewhere in that area, okay? 108.5, sorry. 109.6 to 108.5. Let's be more accurate there. Move it up a little bit. If I'm wrong, then we're going to get multiple 4-hour candles in a row to close above the 382. If we can close above this level here, with one 4-hour candle, it's convincing, but with two 4-hour candles in a row, it's confirming. If we can do that, especially if we can get above this low here at 114.5K, I think that it's undeniable at that point that the low is in, and at which case we'll flip bullish, right? So think of it like this, and this is why, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but this is why whenever it comes to trading or technical analysis, you need to have ifs and thans, because just pretend for now, you're bearish, right? You're bearish down to this area. Like me, that's my stance, right? But the price, instead of going down, proves you wrong, and you go all the way up here. Do you want to miss the whole move, or would you rather wave the white flag here, and then catch? You miss some of the move, but you catch most of it, right? And this move would actually probably progress higher. We'd probably stop somewhere up in this area, or higher, right? So it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong, right? You want to be able to shift. You want to be liquid with the movement of the charts. I don't think that we're moving up. I very much don't think that we are, but you guys know what to look for in the event that we are moving up. Expectation is we're moving down, but maybe we move up $800 from here, just a little bit higher first. Daily time frame. The RSI is right at the same area that we found support the last like dozen times, so that kind of looks good actually. Stochastics are bouncing off the oversold zone. That looks good too. The daily time frame is a good argument for finding the low. And the MACD crossed red, but it's bullish overall, so good enough. I'll tell you what, guys, the daily time frame is the best argument for this finding its low so far. I have to admit. Because not just at the golden ratio are you bouncing, but here at prior resistance as well. Just below prior support on an opening closing basis. You're right there at prior support, prior resistance here, prior resistance there. I want to see how the rest of this day plays out. If it's good, if things are good by the end of this day, you guys, depending on how high we go, I might make another video on Bitcoin just talking about how the low is in, but we'll see. We could get confirmation today. We're still in a kind of, at least I am still in a wait and see kind of phase with anticipation that we move down, okay? Inevitably though, The downside that we're expecting, which is something like here, right? At the worst case, it's like something like this. It's insignificant to the upside that we're expecting. We're waiting for the next move, which will take us to about $180,000, probably by the end of October, if not sometime in early November. I do believe that we'll be at $200,000 or more by the end of this year. We're right at that moment, right before Bitcoin really starts to take off. If you had fun back in April, whenever we made this move up, just understand that the next move that's coming, it's going to be even faster. We're going to be moving at this pace here. We're going to be moving at this pace here. It's dramatically faster. Let's just look at this real quick here. From January to February, mid-February there. And then we've got the late February to mid-March. Pull this over here. Early November to mid-November, that 9-day run right there, man, where we moved up like 30%, I want to say. It's crazy. So you can just see, and then here if I just draw this with a straight line, not my BS line. Come on now, we want the high. It has to be specific. You see how this one, overall, it was about the same size as all these other ones, but it just took way longer. This here, let me delete all this. If we move up at the pace that we have whenever we really are ripping prior in the bull market here, not what we did back in April, that move in April was very, very slow. And it was not at all what I was expecting. I thought that we'd move up a lot faster. But if we move up at all like we have earlier in the bull market, we could see 150K as early as the first week of October, 160K by the middle of October, you know, or higher by the end of October. We absolutely could. And I think that 180K level, I think this next move that we're setting up for is going to be the biggest move that we've seen all cycle. I really do. We were talking about that back in April, that this next move would be the biggest one and the fastest one of the cycle. But it was actually one of the smaller ones. It was one of the slowest. And this is pretty weird. You don't typically do this in a bull market, right? Typically what happens is you see the beginning of the market, you kind of figure yourself out, then you see a stronger move, then you see a stronger move, then you see an even stronger move, which all of these moves progressively got stronger, but this move got weaker, which you don't normally see that. So that doesn't mean the bull market's coming to an end. I think we're just at a point here where we've been so tame that we're about to let loose the goose, and when we do, that thing's going to fly pretty high. I think it's going to be the most massive, extraordinary move that we've seen. People are more bearish here than they were here, right? People are more concerned for the end of the bull market here than they were here, and a lot of people were pretty loud that the bull market's over down here. People are just getting frustrated. They're getting bored, and that boredom, that frustration, it allows people to make the wrong decisions. It allows the smart money to make the right decisions. The more people that are selling Bitcoin, the more institutions are buying it. I don't really have anything else that I want to say, guys. Weekly RSI still looks great. It's fantastic. Stochastics look good, and the MACD is awesome as well. Can we go higher from here? Absolutely. Could we have found the low already? It's possible, but I think that we have lower to go. As low as $104,000 to $106,000. And at a minimum, I would expect that we go, what was it, 109,000? Let me just pull this up again. $108.5 to $109.5. Yeah, that's what it was. All right. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.